Hey everyone, what's up? So in the last video, as you remember, we have created a chess room class here, and inside it we created two armies and a board using those armies. And afterwards we created each piece one by one and added them to the armies and also the board. So today we are going to instantiate this class and display the initial state of the board on the console. So we are going to instantiate this class inside the chessboard part class. So let me reopen that. Okay, so in the first video I have shown you how to create a label on a part. So these were only for demonstration. So I'm going to delete everything here. And as a field, I'm going to define a chess room. And inside this create composite method, I'm going to call this the post construct method. So inside this post construct method, I'm going to instantiate a chess room. Okay, and now I have to access the board object inside this chess room. So let's go ahead and create a getter for the board, the public. Alright, so now we can access the board inside the chess room. So, board. Okay. So, as I said, this part will be responsible for displaying the 8x8 grid of squares and the icons for pieces, and we can click on those icons and make moves and see the opponent's moves and so on. But for now, for today, we are not going to start doing all that. We are only going to call a display method on this board object, which we are going to create in a minute. So this display method will display the initial state of the board on the console. So once we have verified that the chess room and the chessboard are initialized correctly, then we can start building our graphical user interface. So what I'm going to do here is call a display method for display, like that. But there are no display methods at the moment. So let's go ahead and create one. So here, what we are going to do is very easy actually. In a nested for loop, one for the rows and one for the columns, or so let me type that and explain later, please. So what we are going to do is first check if there are any pieces, or let me say if there's any piece on this specific square. So if square R and C gets piece is not null. So I'm going to display the character that we have defined for each piece, the character here, and if it's null, in other words, there are no pieces on this square RC, I'm going to print a dot character, for example. So let me first do that because it's easier. So that's it. Also, let's make this print, not print line, because we only want to create a new line after we displayed each column for a row. So after this for loop is terminated, we can display a new line. So this complains about something. Squares. This should be squares. Okay. So I guess we didn't create a getter method for a piece. So inside this square class, let's quickly add a getter, public piece, piece, sure. Okay, so go back to the board, and here we are going to print, like here, not a new line, the character for whatever piece there is. So let me copy that to get the piece reference and call to string. Actually, if I don't call anything, it's already going to call the to string itself. So it doesn't matter if you leave it like that or if you call the string method. So what the toString method will display is this. For example, let me open the queen class. So here, if it's a white piece, it will display a capital Q. Else, it will display a lowercase q. So for a, for example, king, it will display a capital G or a lowercase g. So we can now run our application and look at the console if it displays correctly the initial state. So in the previous video, we have set up the board. Yeah, it looks like fine, but there are some problems. So this is the blank part. It's blank because we are not adding any SWT widgets here. So that's why it's blank. But as you see, there is some problem here. All the pawns are capital. So the white pawns, actually there are two problems. Since we are starting from the first row, row 1, it's displaying row 1 at the top. So from the perspective of the white player, the row 1 should start from the bottom. So we are going to need to reverse the orders of the for loop. But also this here is another problem. So let me go to the black pawn class. Okay, did I add to the army or to the board everything, every pawn as white? Let me check the chess room. So white pawn, okay, here. That's the problem. For the white army, we are creating white pawns, and for the black army, we're still creating white pawns. So let me fix that. Black pawn. So And also, let me reverse the order in the display method. Okay, R is equal to board length minus 1 and R greater than or equals to 0, and this is minus. So let me copy and change the R with C. Okay, so no, it's wrong, because now we are also reversing the columns, but we only need to reverse the rows. So I'm going to undo what I just did for the inner for loop. So right now it's iterating in the reverse direction for the rows, but it's iterating normally for the columns. So let's run our application one more time. So I'm going to need to terminate that first. So run. Oh. Okay, so here's our blank part, and it looks like we did it this time. So rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, bishop, knight, rook, and white pawns. And these are white. I know that because they are capital case. And here are the lowercase black pieces, the same order. So now we are sure that we created our chess board, chess room, our squares and pieces, and its initial locations. They're all right. At least it seems right at the moment. So let's stop here for today, and we are going to continue by, I guess, by adding our player objects. So we have our chessboard inside the room, but inside this chess room we are also going to need two players who will play this chess game. So I guess we are going to continue by creating players. So see you later. Take care.